Is Rebecca Rhynhart in the house?
Hello. I think there was some announcement about water just now. I did not know what it is, but I heard people's phones going up.
What is it?
Okay.
Well, let's take advantage of every minute. So there are many ways to measure Philadelphia's economic standing. One is to point to the number of Fortune 500 companies that are headquartered within the city limits. That number is 4. Forgetting about New York's 43 and Houston's energy-inspired 21. It is disheartening that Irving, Texas, Pittsburgh, Boston, even Cincinnati and Minneapolis are way ahead of us. So forget Fortune 500 for a second. Attracting big-time, big-name companies is a big deal. You would agree, I know. Let's say, for instance, hypothetically, there is an $8 trillion privately owned financial advising firm in, say, Malvern, and you desperately want to recruit that firm to the city. What is your plan? What is your pitch?
Well, thank you, Jim, and it's wonderful to be here this evening. Attracting great business is incredibly important to the city of Philadelphia. And in order to do that, what we need to do, and what I would do as mayor, is to improve the ease of doing business in our city. That involves cutting down on the red tape. That involves reducing the tax structure, wage tax, business income and receipts tax. We need to make the environment friendlier for business. Too often in Philadelphia, the attitude is one that business is somehow the enemy. My view is that business is a partner because we need good paying jobs, and attracting good business is the way for good job growth and career growth. So to pitch that company, I would say, as mayor, I welcome you. I am working every day to make our city more business friendly, safer, cleaner, and I welcome you to come into our vibrant downtown.
And if the CEO or the leaders of that company would say to you, yeah, I mean, I get it. That's sort of obvious and nice. You want to be safer. You want it to have, less taxes. But I need something specific. I need you to convince me to come into Philadelphia. You're looking that person in the eye and you're saying what?
I'm saying our city is an amazing place. We are in between New York and DC. We have transportation routes up and down the East Coast. We have a more affordable cost of living than those other cities. We have arts and culture. We have amazing sports teams and restaurants. We are a world-class city. And as mayor, I welcome you here to see all of that and to build in the future of our city together.
All right, let's talk about the tax story. Everybody seems to be suggesting that Philadelphia's tax structure is somehow an impediment to doing good business here. For those folks who are not completely aware of the tax situation in Philadelphia, Arizona State University, for instance, did a study that said Philadelphia is not a good place to do business. The study ranked Philadelphia 71st out of 80 cities for the ease of doing business. And it talked about the Philadelphia tax structure. The BERT uniquely imposes levies on both profits and sales. The infamous wage tax, the highest in the country. Jerry Sweeney of Brandywine Realty put it this way: there is no question that our tax structure is a gating issue to us growing jobs. So I ask you, rather than the infinitesimal reductions that have taken place, do you have a vision for a new tax structure in Philadelphia that will communicate to companies we're open for business?
I do have that vision. And as part of my business growth policy and plan that I released, I called for reductions in the wage tax and in the business income and receipts tax. As you mentioned, we rank 71st out of 80th on the Arizona State University study. That study looks at the ease of doing business and the tax structure. And as chief administrative officer of the city and as city controller, I saw firsthand all of the stumbling blocks and issues that businesses had to go through to deal with revenue, L&I, streets, health, all the siloed nature of the departments. So I would break down those silos, and that doesn't cost the city anything. That's about good management and leadership, and I would do that. On the tax structure, we must lower the wage tax, lower the business income and receipts, because we're only one of 4 cities that double taxes, gross receipts, and net profits. But we can't do that on the backs of property tax. We can't keep raising property tax the way we've been raising it over the past few years when our schools are not getting better. So as mayor, what I would do would be to look at the city's budget, and I know the city's budget inside and out from being the city's budget director for 5 years. I would look at the budget and make changes to improve the efficiency of how the city government does business. As city controller, I estimated that the city could easily save $40 million a year by just managing overtime the way it did 5-6 years ago. There are many areas. My office did a police audit, which showed that out of a little under 6,000 officers, only 2,500 are on patrol. The rest are in specialized units or doing desk work. We need management and leadership. That's the way we're going to find the savings necessary to lower those business taxes. And at the same time, I'll work every day to fix our schools, to make our schools better.
Thank you. Della.
Rebecca, I'm in a hurry. So how long would it take in your first term as mayor for us to see some of this action and this vision that you just described to Jim?
Well, the mindset change would be day one. I would start day one as your mayor saying, this city is open for business. I am going to make it safer, and that starts on day one. And also, I will work right away within the first budget cycle to figure out operational improvements to propose a budget that has those tax reductions. This is not something that Philadelphians can wait for. We must have immediacy with this. Our city is in a critical moment, and we can all see this. On day one, I would stand there and say, we need to make our city safer. That's the first thing to attract business. We need consequences and rules. This doesn't mean that we can't have compassion for those who need it. Absolutely. But we must have safety. And that's what I'll bring as mayor. Not going backwards to racist and unconstitutional policies, but not the chaos of now. We must move forward in a way that is safety and has justice. That is the first step to improving our city and bringing businesses back in.
So I want to follow up on my comments around changing the narrative in this city. I hear so many times the word affordable, okay? I think that we have become a city that is permanently subsidized to the residents. And I do not hear very much about middle class creating wealth. And so, as you know, my work is around small business and entrepreneurship. The same speed you just described, your first day in office, what would you do to overhaul OEO office so that it is a wealth creation model for new jobs in this city versus running programs?
So the Office of Economic Opportunity has a hugely important mission, but is not staffed or given the empowerment to do the job that it needs to do. And as mayor, I will have OEO reporting directly into the mayor's office. I will make sure it's adequately staffed. I will set a goal that 40% of city contracts need to go to diverse businesses, and will make OEO responsible for technical assistance and other help to grow Black-owned business. At the same time that I will be using an equity model similar to and basically wanting to work with what you do at Enterprise Center to put equity into Black-owned business.
Okay. So again, I'm going to correct you on the narrative. Technical assistance does not eliminate the pain points of small business.
Sure.
It talks about the work. What we need to do is bring real expertise. And that's not technical assistance. So one of my other lingo changes in linguistics is to change the word from technical assistance to business support services.
Okay. Duly noted. It will be changed on our website tomorrow.
All right. All right. My final question is around the balance sheet, which you know very well. And working with small businesses, as I was talking to Maria about, when they are on commercial corridors and do not own their own building, rent does not build the balance sheet. Equity, when you own your own building, build a balance sheet. So as mayor, what would you do to really help small businesses build their balance sheet so that they can go to banks, CDFIs, and borrow money, as well as attract investment capital?
We need, as a city and as a society, to invest and put equity into Black-owned business. We all know the issue, which is that African American-owned business have not had the same access to business loans, to insurance, to opportunity, and we need to fix that. As part of my report I put out on the American Rescue Plan money as city controller, I suggested that the mayor take a portion of that money and put it into an accelerator type program to invest in Black-owned business. Recent studies have shown I read 24th in the nation on percent of Black-owned businesses, and we're after Charlotte, Washington, Baltimore, DC. We as a government need to be very strategic and intentional, and as mayor, I would put money aside, and we do have money from the American Rescue Plan. The mayor didn't listen to my recommendation, but as mayor, I can actually make that change happen. That's why I'm running for mayor, to actually control things and make things happen. So that is something I absolutely will do. I want to more than double the number of Black-owned businesses in our city in my first term. We can do this. It's going to be transformational, but it needs strategic and intentional funding.
My final comment, this is just a comment, is just be careful as you think about your vision in that many programs suppresses income and wealth. And we need to remove that barrier from creating middle class and wealth in this city.
Absolutely, and I look forward to working with you, hopefully.
Bill Hankowsky.
Thanks. And again, Rebecca, thank you for your service over the years. I want to start, I do not want to talk about the Sixers arena, but I do want to ask a question about big projects. So, and this is a little bit, maybe I am getting a little too old. I worry whether this city has the capacity today to execute a new convention center or to build new stadiums in South Philly, as was done years ago. I mean, and it's the issue of balancing the city's interests against neighborhood interests. It's the issue of mayoral prerogative against councilmatic prerogative. And so if there is a vision for something that needs to happen in this city, how would you, at governing, I'm talking now about management style and governing and philosophy, try to execute something balancing the city's interests with neighborhood and local interests as the mayor?
One of the most important roles of the mayor, in my view, is the role of convener. And I've done this throughout my career at the city, which is convene leaders and stakeholders that have very different interests, whether they be activists and business owners, or whether they just are at different ends of the political spectrum. As mayor, I would bring together the Sixers and the residents of Chinatown and the area to talk about what the project could look like. And I know you said you didn't want to talk about the Sixers, but for any large project, what it would look like and how could we get it done? And maybe the answer is we can't. Maybe the answer is yes, we can. But the role of the mayor is to have a sense of vision, to bring the parties together, to say, can we do this? Can we do it in a way where the community feels okay? Can we? Because it creates a large number of jobs and could be great for the city, but we can't force something on a neighborhood. We've done that too much in history. We cannot do that. But as mayor, I do think that I would have that power, authority, and have results from that.
Different topic. I think we've sort of inadvertently, as a city, made a decision that in 2026, we've invited the world. So we're going to host the World Cup. We're going to have an all-star game. I think there's WrestleMania, and there's probably a couple other things. I'm a little nervous, and I wonder, like, as mayor, I wonder whether this community generally, how organized we are to welcome the world. And how do you think about that, and how might you be thinking about that in your first term, because it's coming actually relatively quickly?
Yeah, 2026 is going to be a very big year with the World Cup and America's birthday celebration. As mayor, I would be working every day to get the right people together to make sure that we're getting ready, to make sure that the city is cleaner, safer, and that we have a plan to show off every neighborhood of our city. We're going to be ready because we have to be ready, because we are going to be able to show off our city in an incredible way, and we've done big things before. The city of Philadelphia has done big things before, and as mayor, I would be there every day, leading the city, showing that we can do this. We need a mayor that is there every day, working, doing the hard work with the courage, and we can do it. We absolutely can do it. We're a great city.
I want to go back to sort of an aspect of a question that Jim asked, which is this whole issue of competition. But as actually Larry in his intro talked about, it's really now a world of city regions. So the competition, many of the attributes in your answer to Jim are actually regional attributes. So how do you see a mayor as the leader of this region trying to compete nationally, internationally, for all kinds of activity that may or may not land here? Do you think that's a priority in your administration? How would you work with our suburban neighbors? A little thought about that.
So the city of Philadelphia and our suburban neighbors are all partners. We depend on each other more than we think. People who live in the city work in the suburbs. People who live in the suburbs come into the city for dinner. We're all one region. And in my view, in order to be tremendously successful, we have to work together. We have a regional airport, we have SEPTA, and we have to fix all that. And we need to work together to get some of these larger companies. We have a growing life science industry here with Spark and all of the other companies that are building in West Philly. I would want to be a partner with the counties. And plus, being a partner with the counties helps us at the state. So there's strategic significance to that as well. And I've done that in the past. I've been to the other county chambers of commerces to speak as the city controller. I've reached out and made connections in the suburban counties, and I would just amplify that as mayor.
As you welcome the world in 2026, is there something as mayor you can do about baggage claim at the airport? Otherwise, the world may get back on a plane and go home. I mean, the airport is a city-owned facility.
So I think part of the plan, in all seriousness,
I'm being serious,
would be working with the airport and American Airlines. American is a big employer and stakeholder in the city of Philadelphia to make sure that we are all ready. This isn't just about having city streets clean, it's about all the different partners, including the airport and baggage claim.
Rebecca Rhynhart, thank you so much.
Thank you.